Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat. Nastresya Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Bhagavati Utamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. This morning we will discuss the first verse of a new chapter, chapter 12, the birth of Emperor Parikshit. I will first recite the verse. Shri Saunaka Uvacha Asvatam no prasrishtena Brahma Shirsnorote Yasa Uttaraya Hato Garba Ishana Jivita Puna. Word for word translation. Saunaka Uvacha, the sage Saunaka said, Ashvatthama, of Ashvatham, the son of Drona, Upashistena, by release of Brahmashirsna, the invincible weapon, Brahmastra, Uruteyasa, by high temperature, Uttaraya of Uttara, mother of Parikshit, Hata, being spoiled, Garba, womb, Ishena, by the Supreme Lord, Achivitaha, brought to life, Punaha, again. Translation. So this is Saunaka Rishi speaking, this Sutta Goswami. The sage Saunaka said, the womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Ashvatham. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord. So, purport. The sages assembled in the forest of Namisaranya inquired from Sutta Goswami about the birth of Maharaj Parikshit. But in course of the narration, other topics like the release of the Brahmastra by the son of Drona, his punishment by Arjun, Queen Kunti's Devi's prayers, the Pandavats' visit to the place where Bhishmadev was lying, his prayers, and thereafter the departure of and thereafter the Lord's departure for Dwaraka were discussed. His arrival at Dwaraka and residing with the 16,000 queens, etc., were also narrated. The sages were absorbed in hearing such descriptions, but now they wanted to turn to the original topic, and thus the inquiry was made by Saunaka Rishi. So the subject of the release of the Brahmastra weapon by Ashvatham is renewed. I read the verse again. Shri Saunaka Uvacha Ashvatham no prashristena Brahma Shirsnoroteyasa Uttaraya Hato Garba Ishena Chivita Punaha. The sage Saunaka said, the womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Ashvatham. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord. Om Ajnana Timandasya Jananjala Shanakaya Shaksu unmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namah. Chaitanya manobishtam स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामयं ददाति स्वापदन्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीयुतापादकमलं शिवं वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं जगज्जातं सगणरघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवदूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagalita Shivishakam Vitam Sahe Krishna Karuna Sinudina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopkakanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gauraki Radhe Vrindavanashri Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripriya Panka Kalptrabhisha Kripa Sindhavisa Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Ki Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarne. So the sages want to go back to the original topic of Maharaj Pariksit, who was nearly killed by Ashvatam in the womb of Uttara, but Lord Krishna protected him. So this Bhagavatam is a way to help us to think of Krishna. And that was also the question of Maharaj Pariksit. I'm going to die very soon. How can I always think of Krishna? How can I think of Krishna all the time? How can I connect with Krishna all the time? It's a dilemma. Sometimes devotees, at least neophyte devotees, they think, why should I enter household life? Let me go to the holy dham and just chant and hear about Krishna. Of course, in Madhurya Kadambini, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this is one of the symptoms of a neophyte devotee. He mentions 6 symptoms of anishtita bhajana kriya. One is indecision, but thinking I'm going to Vrindavan and I chant and hear about Krishna, that's a better situation. But that's an adjustment of one's external situation. And one thinks that this external situation is most important. And that I only be able to be Krishna conscious in a certain external situation. Then we try to our best to adjust the material world so that one is always able to remember Krishna. But yes, one engages in adjusting the material world, but still one does not remember Krishna. So, because this is a trick of Maya. Maya said adjust things so that you can think of Krishna. That's it. It's in the Bhagavatam. Eteritam na pratyata na pratyat satmane. That this is the second verse of the Bhagavatam Shatra Sloki. And the 2, 9, 33, 34, 35, 36, I think. And the second verse says, what is disconnected with Krishna is illusion. But the reality is everything is connected with Krishna, but we don't see it. So yeah, that's so no need to change our situation, but we should hear this Bhagavatam. And not just hear it, we should be enthusiastic to inquire about it. I came across a lecture on this verse of Bhakti Charamaj, and he makes a very heavy point there, but important point. And I want to share them with you. So I note down the essence of the lecture, and I will try to summarize it for you. So Sonakarishi is the head of all these sages of Naimi Sharanya, and he's asking questions on behalf of the sages. And what were his questions? What questions did he ask? So, how was Maharaj Pariksit being born of the womb of Uttara? Although a Brahmasta was released by Ashvatam to kill him when he was in the womb of the mother. And how was he saved by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna? How was he being born in spite of being attacked by a Brahmasta? And they do not only want to know how he took birth, but how did this death take place? And what did he achieve after his death? So these were all questions of Sanakarishi to Srila Sutta Goswami. He also wanted to know about the transcendental knowledge that Sukadev Goswami spoke to Maharaj Pariksit. So we can see here how transcendental knowledge is imparted by the pure devotees in response to sincere inquiry. And then Bhakti Charamraj starts to comment and instruct all of us. And it are important instructions that so he's saying in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we wait for questions until the end, he says. But actually, the basis of the Bhagavatam class are the questions. But to ask questions, one has to be properly educated. Properly educated. So there is a condition. One has to be well acquainted with the subject, that's education. And one must be intelligent to ask the questions. As readers of Srimad Bhagavatam, we should develop a sincere interest from which we will ask questions. If we don't have this sincere inquiry, we will not be able to make spiritual advancement. So we must be inquisitive, want to know the spiritual realm. Otherwise, we will not be able to make spiritual advancement. So, how can we develop sincere inquiry? Sincere inquiry will come from developing interest in the topic. We should not attend the class because Otherwise, the temple president will get on our case. That's the wrong motivation. Or we don't attend the Srimad, if we don't attend the Srimad Bhagavatam, there will be not any prasad. No. Srimad Bhagavatam in this way will not be a compulsion, not be an obligation, not be forced. In Srimad Bhagavatam class, we need a genuine interest to attend. Reading and hearing about Krishna consciousness is the most important aspect of spiritual advancement. In spiritual life, we should not do things out of compulsion, not by force. We should try to develop genuine interest, out of which we should be inspired to come to listen to Krishna Katha. Otherwise, we won't get the taste. If we don't like something, then what will happen? We won't continue it. After a while, we will go away. We should remember that we haven't come to Krishna consciousness to go away one day. We joined ISKCON to be here life after life. Life after life, he said. Not only in this life, but life after life, we should desire to be on this path. And do whatever is necessary for that. Spiritual life should not become a boring affair. Our involvement in Krishna consciousness should be genuine. We should be appreciating what we are doing, or do we want to do something else? So let our involvement be genuine. So that is important. If we want to think always of Krishna, we must be attracted to Krishna. And that attraction will grow when we have genuine interest. And genuine interest, a symptom of that is we are eager to ask questions, eager to know that. So that is the essence. Otherwise, taste will not come. If you have taste, means genuine interest. And today, at the end of this class, I want to glorify a god sister who passed away last Sunday night in Mayapur, who has done a lot of preaching work. She was a staunch brahmacharini. Her name is Karunamayi Devidasi. I received first initiation in Mayapur, and then the year after, second initiation in Radhadesh. On that same day, it was the 25th of August 1999, I received second initiation, and Karunamaya got first initiation. I find it appropriate to glorify her because when she spoke always of Krishna. She was always feeling connected with Krishna. She was a brahmacharini. She was living for years in the temple in Radhadesh in Belgium. She was originally born in Bristol in the UK. But her father was English and her mother was Dutch. By that she spoke both languages. And she had a Dutch passport and a British passport, dual citizenship. But soon after initiation, she started to preach that, and she was living so simple. Sometimes she stayed in ISKCON Center. I remember she stayed in Brussels, and she was living very simple, a little space to sleep in the basement. But she never demanded anything. But she was always thinking of Krishna, always speaking about Krishna, and with feeling. She organized, 20 years ago, she organized programs for me in Flanders, in Belgium. And I gave the lecture. And after the lecture, I asked her for feedback. And she was so simple. She never criticized anyone, never heard. I never heard her criticizing anyone. But I accepted all her feedback. It was always very good. And I was not perturbed with the points of improvement she brought forth, because she was so simple-hearted that they accepted all what she was saying, and I applied it also. And that she got the instruction of Srila Bhakti Maharaj to preach in Bangladesh. And since last 50 years, she's mostly in Mayapur. Interesting, she went to Mayapur, but she couldn't get a long-time visa. So when the visa was expiring, on her own, she went to Nepal, applying for a new visa, staying there in the temple, very simple, and came back. But she did a lot of preaching in Bangladesh, especially to children and ladies. That after this class, I will post an interview of her in Bangladesh, and but she was living for the last years in Mayapur, and someone constructed there a small cottage where she was living, and that last year I gave a lecture. She visited Belgium, Radhadesh. I gave a lecture in Holland, and she came especially to see me for a lecture. And she showed me the place, the little place she was staying in Mayapur. But she got first initiation, and she was very qualified for second initiation, but she never wanted second initiation. She was thinking, I'm not qualified. And she was most qualified. But she was a friend of everyone. We will miss her dearly. But she had always this inquisitiveness, absorption in the Bhagavatam, and her topics of speaking were always Krishna conscious. That's the sign of someone who has taste. Guru Maharaj stresses us we should have genuine interest in the Bhagavatam. That's the Bhagavatam should become our life and soul. Because the Bhagavatam connects us with Krishna. It helps us to think of Krishna and finally become absorbed consciously in Krishna consciousness. Because Param Dristvani Vartate, we need that higher taste. Where does this taste come from? As explained in the Bhagavatam, Susruso Shodhanasya Vastev Katauchi, Syanmat Sevya Viprapunya Technani Shevanat. First, we must hear with attention the Bhagavatam, and we must render service to the Mahatma, the spiritual master. And then everything what is troublesome to the heart, what's troublesome to the heart is everything what prevents us to think of Krishna. And what prevents us to think of Krishna is the modes of passion and ignorance. By daily attendance of the Bhagavatam, rendering service to the devotees, to the spiritual master, always troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed. Tato just, yeah. And then the influence of passion and ignorance is removed from the heart, and one becomes situated in goodness. And in goodness we can meditate. Meditate, give all our attention to Krishna. And love for Krishna develops. But first we have to give attention to Krishna. And then we can give our love. And that is the process that is described here. We should not try to adjust our external situation. Krishna will arrange our external situation to be changed if he desires. But we get a certain situation due to our karma. We should accept this and be satisfied that, and that's important, because these are the actions of our past deeds, and Krishna wants us to be responsible. If we accept them, then we become peaceful. Yes, Krishna, that you arranged for me. Thank you. And try to be Krishna conscious in that situation. Develop Krishna consciousness in that situation. Everyone can hear the Bhagavatam. And then gradually we will feel attraction for Krishna. If we feel attraction for this material world, we cannot get attraction to Krishna. And that's the dual effect of hearing the Bhagavatam. It makes us attached to Krishna and detached from this material world. It's mentioned in the 5th chapter of the Gita, text 5, in the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, attachment to Krishna and attachment for matter is the same. That we don't have to endeavor for the attachment for matter apart. No, just become attached to Krishna. And so find a way in our situation to connect with Krishna. It is not that later, when my children will be grown up, then I will become Krishna conscious. Forget it, you will be invalid. That old age becomes a very difficult age. The body wants to sleep more than you want. Your memory is going, all these things. No. We have to train ourselves now, not later. Don't delay. Be inquisitive now. That's the message here of Guru Maharaj. So that we get a taste now. Once we get a taste, everything becomes more easy. That is what I could say on this verse. Any comments or questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I just have a question about this Bararista, this weapon. This is a spiritual weapon that he used to try to kill Percochet while he was in the womb.
Well, we discussed that at the end of the 7th chapter of the first canto. After the battle of Kurukshetra was over, that then still Ashvatam, Ashvatam was the son of Dronacharya. Yeah, he wanted to kill the last descendant of the Kuru dynasty, who was not yet born, Maharaj Pariksit, who was in the womb of his mother, Uttara. That Uttara was the wife of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was the son of Arjuna. Abhimanyu was killed in the battle, but Uttara was pregnant of Maharaj Pariksit. And these Brahmins were very powerful, and by mantras they could, by mantras they could create a formidable weapons, and one of the weapons is the Brahmastra. The Brahmastra, just by pronouncing these mantras correct, this Brahmastra is even superior to today's nuclear weapons. Can destroy an entire planet with that. And but it's very subtle. The difference with nuclear weapons is such a Brahmastra at a certain target, and the target has to be destroyed. Nothing can do about it. And it's very subtle. You don't see it even coming. So he drove the Brahmastra to destroy the embryo of Maharaj Pariksit. But so the embryo was destroyed, but Krishna personally entered the womb of Uttara and protected Maharaj Pariksit and renewed his embryo like it was. So he was saved by Krishna. Maharaj Pariksit had the experience in the womb, and he saw Krishna with his club whirling around, protecting him. But then he disappeared. And therefore, after the birth of Maharaj Pariksit, he was always searching to that person whom he saw in the in the womb. He was observing everything and see, is this person, this person that I saw? So he became an observer. Therefore he got the name Pariksit, means observer. So this is supernatural powers that this Brahmastra was. Yeah, it said, our Acharya said it factually destroyed the embryo, but Krishna restored it. That's a supernatural power of Krishna. And he protected by this, that the dynasty of the Pandavas, the Kaurus, would continue. So that's the story, that's it. And we find that in the 7th canto, that in the 7th chapter, there also Ashvatam tried to attack Krishna and Arjuna with a Brahmastra. And he threw a Brahmastra. But Ashvatam knew how to throw a Brahmastra, but not how to retract it. And but Arjuna being instructed had heavenly instructors in Indraloka and so on, and by Lord Shiva. He got his benediction, and he knew also how to create a Brahmastra and he knew how to retract it. And Krishna said, because this Brahmastra was seeing in the sky, it was going to destroy half of the universe. And he asked to Arjun, you create also Brahmastra and let them combine. So he also created a Brahmastra, and the two Brahmastras combined. And now Krishna says, retract the Brahmastra. And Arjuna spoke the mantra to retract it, and it was retracted. Therefore, and then they went after Ashvatam and captured him and brought him before Draupadi, because Ashvatam had murdered the 5 children of the grandchildren of the Pandavas. That's you can read in the 7th chapter. I must more to say about that, but that's more or less a summary of the story. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very kindly. I'm still on the first canto. I've just started the 13th chapter, so I've
Yeah. Okay.
got a little bit of learning yet to do. Thank you. Very bowl.
Any other questions? Okay, then I'm looking forward to see you this evening for the nectar of instruction in the discussions. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.